we're talking about Russia in general. My scope on the world and my view on the world has been shaped by my father's view. My father was obviously American intelligence, so I guess I should be very, very pro-West. But when you look at the world for what it actually genuinely is, I believe the Russians have had a pretty hard deal. And I believe that in the West, we are sold and we are told that the Russians are always the bad guys. The Russians are doing the bad thing in Syria. The Russians are doing this bad. The Russians are doing that bad. When in reality, we do the bad things. We funded a whole bunch of groups in Syria so they'd fight ISIS. Those groups are fighting ISIS and the legitimate government and fuck knows who else, because we don't know who they're fighting. And Russia's just blowing up anyone who's not the government. I agree with Russia. I think they're doing the right thing. We talk about Russia being aggressive because they annexed Crimea, but if you look at the post-USSR world, who's been aggressive? The USSR had all these countries as buffer states between Russia and the West. They had Hungary, they had Slovakia, they had Belarus, they had Ukraine. They had all these countries as buffer states between the Russia, between the USSR and between the West. And now, since the USSR has fallen, all those countries have joined the EU. So who's been aggressive when all the countries that were previously USSR have now all joined the EU, all joined NATO, all put in anti-missile systems along their border, all have tanks along their border? Imagine Russia bought Ireland. What would England be saying? You know, so
back our Guinness.
Exactly. So our Guinness. So who's the aggressive ones? We're the aggressive ones. So we want to take all the buffer states away, put the European Union and NATO, which is an unfightable force. Russia stands 0% chance in a war against NATO. Literally zero. They don't stand a chance in a war against America alone, let alone NATO. So 0% chance, and you want to bring it right up to the Russian border. We're in Romania right now. There's a bunch of American soldiers around, and there's a big fucking thing on the news and problems going on because they're building an anti-missile system in Russia. I mean, here in Romania, on the Russian border. The whole idea of nuclear weapons is that it's a mutual destruction. That's the idea, is that we fire one, you fire one, mutually destroyed, so no one uses nukes. America's putting in anti-missile systems everywhere, so you can't ever nuke the EU. You can't ever nuke America. So that means they have nukes and Russia doesn't. So it takes the balance away again. And that's the whole point of it. So they're just expanding NATO, expanding the EU at a rate now where Turkey can shoot down a Russian fighter jet on its way to Syria. There was a Russian fighter jet on its way to Syria that was in Turkish airspace for less than 4 seconds, got shot down, killed the jet, killed the pilot. Would Turkey dare do that to Russia if Turkey wasn't a member of NATO? No. They shoot the guy's jet down when it has a 3-second airspace violation. It wasn't taking the piss. 3 seconds. They shoot him out of the sky, kill the guy, then they call America, oh, we pissed Russia off. If they come get us, can you save us? That's bullshit. So who's starting the problems? We are. Putin, if you actually listen to him, is one of the smartest, most logical men on the planet. And that's why I'm so happy Trump won. Because Trump